We're journeying through the book of Hebrews every Monday through Thursday, and we're now in chapter 4, and we're talking about the fact that Jesus is our high priest. And today, I want to build on that, and I'm going to move into chapter 5 for a second, because it's got a great description of the high priest, and then double back into chapter 4 to make a particular point. So, I'm reading now Hebrews chapter 5, beginning with verse 1, reading 1 through 5. Every high priest is selected from among the people and is appointed to represent them in matters related to God, to offer gifts and sacrifices for sin. He is able to deal gently with those who are ignorant and are going astray, since he himself is subject to weakness. This is why he has to offer sacrifices for his own sins as well as for the sins of the people. And no one takes this honor on himself, but he receives it when called by God, just as Aaron was. In the same way, Christ did not take on himself the glory of becoming a high priest, but God said to him, "You are my son, today I have become your father." Okay, so we notice a few things. First of all, we notice that high priests were selected from among the people. The high priest is not dropped down from heaven on a string. The high priest is one of them, has lived among the people, understands the people, is able to represent the people to God. They know the trials and pressures and headaches and hassles and heartaches of being human. Secondly, we also know that these people have to be appointed by God, and that's the reference to Aaron. So now, with that as backdrop, let's double back and go into Hebrews chapter 4. I'm going to read verses 14 through 16. Therefore, again, that's a key word. It keeps showing up here, not showing up at the start of a new chapter, which I have already whined about, noting that it's breaking up an argument. This is at the end of Hebrews chapter 4. Therefore, since we have a great high priest who has ascended into heaven, Jesus the Son of God, let us hold firmly to the faith we profess. For we do not have a high priest who is unable to empathize with our weaknesses, but we have one who has been tempted in every way just as we are, yet he did not sin. Let us then approach God's throne of grace with confidence so that we may receive mercy and find grace to help us in our time of need. So, look, it's talking here about Jesus, and it makes this observation that we have a high priest who can relate to us. Jesus became one of us. That's the mystery of the incarnation. While remaining fully God, somehow he becomes fully man, and he adds humanity to deity. He puts some aspects of his divinity in some sort of blind trust. I don't know. Talking about this is to say heretical things. You can't say much about the dual nature of Christ, fully God, fully man, without getting in trouble. We see how the early church leaders tried to spell this out in the Chalcedonian definition, and they end up saying what they don't mean. There's no mixture, there's no confusion, right? But they can't really describe it. It's a mystery. God's nature is beyond us. But the emphasis here is that Jesus Christ, although he is fully human, he doesn't have sin. He can relate to us, and yet he has done so without sin. And so, consequently, we have a high priest who did go through the heavens, as opposed to sort of going through the veil and going into the Holy of Holies and the tabernacle and later the temple. Those are the same thing, except the tabernacle was portable. The temple was the permanent structure first built by Solomon. So, but inside, in the very epicenter of the tabernacle or the temple, is the Holy of Holies. And that's the place where God's presence manifested itself in a particularly profound way. So what we're being told here is that Jesus did not simply pass through the veil. He ascended into the Holy of Holies in heaven. He passed through the heavens, right? The heaven one, the way the Bible talks about it, the first layer of heaven is sort of the sky, the atmosphere, and the second layer of heaven is the way the word is used, refers to sort of space. But he goes into the third heavens. He goes right into the Holy of Holies. Therefore, we have that person, Jesus, not just the priest, and not even just a high priest, but the great high priest. Jesus is the one who represents us. Therefore, with confidence, not because of who we are, but because of who he is, but because of who our representative is. Therefore, we have confidence to approach the throne of grace. It's all about Jesus. If you are a Christ follower and Christ is in you, then he is our representative. This is very encouraging information. We'll come back to this tomorrow. Have a good day.